And like today we are so much used to smartphone and smartphone, what we call it, destructive innovation. What do you call it? Disruptive innovation. Disruption, right? No, there was no talk of that, but and we are so much used to it. But if somebody tries to remember, the first iPhone and the first smartphone was launched only in 2007, last quarter. So it's not even 9 years, 8 years, and one couple of months, and the world has changed so dramatically. So I think that's somewhere nowhere there. I talked to some of the academician friends and all that. I think maybe the school books are not changing yet because they don't have enough data. So I think that is something one need to ponder upon. Is that the thing, and you're fighting with the old medicine? The problem is something different. So I would leave with that.
Thank you for telling us, bringing this point about disruptive technology. Let me ask Jitendra Bhai, how prepared is the corporate world to meet the new risks and the new challenges thrown up by technology in this new normal environment?
I think last few crises have clearly demonstrated that every crisis will differentiate men from the boys. We have seen IT system, for example, in 2000, big crash in NASDAQ. And let's talk about India. The companies like Infosys, SCL Tech, TCS, they have come out reasonably well. And the second time IT companies have not done well compared to these 4 or 5 companies. Now, why this is so? It clearly shows that few companies with better management, better processes, better risk management policies, and their ability to adopt new practices, new technology, new innovation, will change their thought process for the future. Same trend is clearly visible now in the last few years in India as well. As we were discussing that next 12 months, 18 months down the line, probably you will see this chakka starting once again. GDP will keep going 7.5%. Private sector will start investing once again back to the projects. Things will look normal, but whether all corporates will do well? Answer is no. Those corporates who are investing their time and resources on the innovations, on the IT, on the risk management, they will do well. And I'll just give you one example. As a company, we have also learned our lesson, how the new practices are coming from the technology side, risk management side. So we have something called tornado analysis. So we do various factors which affect the project, and we take down those factors. For example, interest rate is one of the factors, government approval is a second factor, and then say, if this factor goes against us, what is the impact? This factor goes against us, what is the impact? And then, at the end of the day, if all 6 factors goes against us, what is the net impact? So this is a worst case scenario. These kind of new analysis we have, started working, which was never the case, 5, 7 years back. But we have, moved, we have, writing this new learning curve on the risk management. And we are not the only one. Best of the corporates are taking their new practices. And I think you will see the result in next 12 to 18 months.
As companies and corporates adjust to the new normal, the new situation, Nilesh Bhai, what are the things that you would expect or you would want? What is the wish list from the government to make this really happen?
So let me talk about textile industry. We have been blessed by the God to make one of the highest cotton in the world. It's pretty good quality. We know how to convert cotton into yarn. We have one of the largest spindleage in the world. We also weave them into fabric since Harappa Mohenjo-daro days. And we supply this fabric to virtually every single brand in the world, right from Zara to Canali to Gap to Tommy Hilfiger. Now, when you convert cotton to yarn and yarn to fabric, you really don't make money. You make money when you convert that into garment and put a brand that this is Gap, this is Tommy Hilfiger, this is Aero, and you get the pricing power. India's total exports of ready-made garments is $18 billion. China's ready-made garment export is $270 billion officially. And if we take into account what is being shipped to Vietnam, Bangladesh, Ethiopia, and where made in China gets replaced by made in Ethiopia, that number jumps to $350 billion. So they export as a country more than what we export overall. And China doesn't make as much cotton as India. They don't have as much spinning as India. They don't make as much fabric as India. And yet their ready-made garment exports is more than India. It's more than what entire India exports by way of everything. What have we done to keep our entrepreneurs behind the curve in ready-made garment export? One, I sit on the board of a textile company in Ahmedabad. We ship fabric from Ahmedabad to Bangladesh faster than we ship fabric from Ahmedabad to Ludhiana. Our goods train run at an average speed of 25 kilometers an hour. I jokingly tell in the board meeting, why don't we employ some Nigerian marathon runners? They'll run faster than our goods train. But obviously they can't carry the weight. Now we want government to develop railway infrastructure which can help move goods. I mean, other than that, there's no way hinterland can progress. Now, when Britishers were colonizing India, they built 50,000 kilometers of railway. Post-independence, from 1947 till 2015, we have built 10,000 kilometers of railway. Just 20% of what Britishers left. Now, of course, we have converted narrow gauge to meter gauge to broad gauge. But the fact is that you have built just 20% of railway what Britishers left with you. What have we done as country? We just forgot how to build railway. And that's why our goods train run at 25 kilometers an hour, and that's why we are not able to export as much ready-made garments as we should export. Now, if this was not good enough, we came out with a law which says that a woman cannot work in a factory after 8 p.m. Now, it's already 8 p.m., right? Yeah, it's 8:10. Jyoti, you are feeling safe. Brinda, you are feeling safe. You won't feel uncomfortable going home at 12 in the night. And yet, as a country, we have passed a law which says that women cannot work after 8 p.m. in the factory. All my sewing machine works 1 shift a day. The Chinese sewing machine works 3 shifts a day. Their interest cost is 25% of Indian interest cost if I'm charitable, or 10% of Indian interest cost if I'm not charitable. Their infrastructure, their goods train run at 150 kilometers an hour. Their power cost is lower than India. I mean, you just cannot operate like this, and hence your cotton, your yarn, your fabric, it doesn't get converted into garment. I mean, it's a shameful thing for us as a country that a country like Vietnam and Bangladesh exports today more clothes, more garments than India. What we need from government is simple laws which allow us to utilize our, equipments more efficiently. It builds infrastructure which allows us to export, which allows us to create trade, commerce, and industry. And we need to have policies which we seem to be having now, which actually encourage trade, commerce, and industry. The wealth will be created by businessmen. We need to encourage that.
Thank you. Yes, I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions for you. But before I throw open the session, let me just ask one quick question to Abhishek, because no discussion about a new normal would be complete without asking about what is likely to happen in Europe, Brexit, whatever. So what kind of a world are we going to see?
I think it's very difficult to say, the entire world. I mean, I remember my clients calling me and saying the pound is going to depreciate by say 20%, it's going to go to parity. And they were having sleepless nights over it because they were all exporters to Britain. But nothing happened. The markets went down by around 500, 800 points, say 800 pips, and then again it's been a range of 1.40 to 1.45. In fact, the stock markets in the UK has gone up, because since the currency went down, these companies who were into energy and because we saw a rally in energy recently, all have started making a lot of money. So the point I want to make here is that what's going to happen with Brexit is very difficult to predict, because how the markets take it is more important rather than just taking a 20% discount on the currency, because it could be bad for Europe, it could be bad for UK, and You never know, the markets is almost priced in. So I think there's a consensus that the number is 49-51. 49 people want UK to be out, 51. But during referendums, it always happens like this. The thing I am concerned about is that what if it doesn't happen? The market is kind of priced in a lot of Brexit right now in the market. If Brexit doesn't happen, I am personally seeing a 10 big figure movement in pound sterling in less than 15-20 days. And that's kind of possibility if Brexit doesn't happen. Because market is kind of priced in a 50% probability of Brexit happen. So I think it's going to be very, very difficult, and I think during that time we're going to have the US elections and then the interest rate hikes. So I think you just can't say that after the Brexit the currency is going to depreciate by 20%. So I think I'm being a contrarian here, possibly. I don't know, Nilesh, but you know must be good.
Okay, so you've heard a whole range of views from here, our panel.